that is working to end the Turkish government's denial of the Armenian Genocide. He seeks for all of Turkey's citizens a better future built upon tolerance and a truthful and just reckoning with the past. He is a man of great courage, and his trip here is a testimonial of that. He was the first Turkish voice in Turkey to criticize the state's denial, and he helped found the Human Rights Association that now organizes annual commemorations of the Armenian Genocide in Turkey, which have grown every year. As a publisher of profound freedom in this country, he has faced persecution, imprisonment, and threats of violence. Even as he has won awards from around the world, he has in his own native country been jailed simply for speaking openly and honestly about Turkey's past, its present, and its future. Upon his return, he may, and quite possibly surely will, face these challenges once again. It is this courageous message of truth and justice, not the official genocide denials of the Turkish government, that should be encouraged and empowered by President Obama. Sadly, even as Mr. Zarakoglu, a Turkish citizen, traveled across an ocean to speak to us today, representatives from our own White House and State Department are prohibited from even setting foot in this room to hear about an event that touched their citizens. One more tragic example of our White House accepting Ankara's gag rule on the Armenian Genocide. So, while we talked about the lack of courage on this issue from our own corners of government and the White House, I think we can celebrate a brave man who is here to share with us his message, a message from Turkey, a message of one brave individual who has taken a stand on the Armenian Genocide. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, respectful religious leaders, I'm proud to be with you here. I want to carry the message of human rights movement from Turkey. As human rights movement in Turkey, we are supporting your struggle, the Armenian diaspora struggle for their rights, because you are now American citizens, you are now French citizens, you are now all world citizens, but you were our old citizens. It is very shameful what our state did to you. It's unbelievable a state can do that crime. This crime defined in 1915 first time as a crime against the humanity, and next year it will be a century. It is unbelievable. It is not shameful only for Turkey, but it is also shameful for all the world, for all the big powers, because they declared in 1915, they defined this crime as a crime against the humanity, and they promised to put the criminals in court. be the first Nuremberg trial, there was a chance for humanity to prevent new genocides. But they were arrested. They were put in jail in Malta Island, and they were released by British government. They defined the crime as crime against the humanity. But what happened later? I understand the interests of the states. I understand the balance of the world. But it doesn't prevent the new genocides, new crimes against the humanity. First, we decided to talk about Armenian genocide. It was forgotten in Turkey. There was a silence. There was a wall of silence in Turkey. In 1990, we published a book against the taboo. The title was Interstate Colony, Kurdistan. It was a big taboo at that time. And during our defense in the court, we expressed our counter accusation, and we told to the court, it was a state security court, that it is not a crime to talk about genocide, but it is a crime to deny the genocide. And we published first books about Armenian genocide in 1993, more than 20 years, and we were alone in our society. And why we published this book? Was it a historical taboo? No, because we feel there is a danger for our society for a new genocide. Because over the borders in Iraq, Saddam made a little genocide against Kurdish population. You know, they used chemicals in Halabja. And the Kurdish problem was growing, and terrible things began to happen. The examples of the dirty war. Then we feel we must do something as human rights strugglers to prevent a new tragedy, a new crime against the humanity. And we published a book, and you cannot imagine how the reaction was strong. You may imagine there was a war, Kurdish war in Turkey, and you published a book about Kurdish question. Sure, we have problems, but when you publish a book about Armenian genocide, the reaction was more stronger. So it shows the Turkish state mentality and philosophy. They are making busy public opinion with a kind of absurdization to make a human tragedy absurd. It is a genocide or not genocide. We are focused many years about the genocide. Unfortunately, the American government became a part of the play. I'm so sorry. And did these policies give courages to the authoritarianism in all around the world? Sure, United States is a good friend of Turkey, but if he is a real friend of Turkey, they must act different, and they must support democratization in Turkey. And a real democratization of Turkey can begin to face with the history, our history, the reality of as civil society, our actions developing. We are planning the next year to commemorate Armenian genocides in different parts of Anatolia, ex-Armenia, parts, West Armenia, the old cities, if it's possible, because we as Human Rights Association has branches, different parts. Very simple, not with slogans, to leave flowers to the rivers, to the mountains. You can feel the tragedy when you visit the geography, the valleys. You feel from the atmosphere what happened there. Because you know there are signs everywhere if something tragic happened. In 1998, our friends founded a genocide Gegner Association, the people who are against the genocide. And in 1998, they collected 10,000 signatures for acceptance of Armenian genocide and apology from Turkish Parliament. And what did Turkish Parliament did? They sent back 10,000 papers back to Germany, and all of them were Turkish citizens. I'm proud of their action. It was a chance, and later we try to connect with Turkish Parliament also, because Turkish Parliament sent a letter to British Parliament, and they demanded from British Parliament, you must cancel Blue Book and you must accept this is a propaganda material, not real, only propaganda for the war. It was something stupid, sure, but also insulting to British Parliament also. But you know, the British gentleman attitude, they only replied, okay, let's come together with commissions. We want to listen why you want to cancel Blue Book. And the British Parliament members are waiting nearly 9 years, the answer of the Turkish Parliament. And the petition signed with 500 MPs without reading Blue Book. And 4 years ago, we organized a press conference in Human Rights Association. Lord Avaberry came from London, and Aras Sarafyan, historian, and we printed 500 copies special for the parliamentarians, and we sent to the Turkish Parliament. And what happened? Also, I made a press conference in the Turkish Parliament. And then a famous genocide denialist, Turkish ambassador in Turkey, Şükrü Elekdağ, was parliamentarian and went immediately to the president of the parliament, and they accepted the Turkish parliamentarians as a student, and they decided the Blue Book not good for the parliamentarians, and they prevent distribution the Blue Book, so they prevented also the basic right of communication of parliamentarians also. You may imagine, 2 persons can decide to prevent distribution of the books given to the parliamentarians. And when I was in prison, I sent a letter to Turkish Parliament again for apology and acceptance of Armenian Genocide, and I'm waiting a reply 3 years, and there was no reply. So it's very hard. It's really a shame for our society. We feel ourselves very bad as a part of civil society and also human rights activists. When I was in prison, some Swedish parliamentarians sent the Nobel Peace Committee for me as candidate of Peace Prize. Then I remember Mr. Obama got Peace Prize. And then, so we have a connection with Nobel Peace Prize. Sure, I didn't have Nobel Peace Prize. Instead of me, European Union got the Peace Prize. And what did they do about the Armenian Genocide, the first genocide of 20th century? So it is not shameful only for our government. Unfortunately, it is shameful for American government, British government, also European Union government. So we must do something next year. They must hear our voice, our cry, our demand. And it is good, not only for Armenians. Armenians lost. Everybody. They are waiting only acknowledgement, apology. Only they want to pray for their deaths. And because their deaths is open, you cannot bury them. Their graves are open. So it is a shame for humanity.